I remembered recently some of the past events in my own marriage that had brought about anger and bitterness, especially in me, their effects on my relationship with my husband, and how I learned to deal with them. I thought it good to share with you, trusting God that you will experience healing too, just as I have. I welcome you again to Marriage That Works, the ministry with the mandate to help put your family in the right perspective, God's perspective, by teaching and encouraging values which I believe will help transform your marriage from the necessary evil you probably have considered it to be to what God intends for you. I believe strongly that the issue I'll be raising in this episode on bitterness and how to heal from its venom will in no small measure improve your marital health. Studies have shown that bitterness is more common with wives than husbands, and that a lot of married women are bitter towards their husbands. There have been repeated hurts in your marriage relationship, as it is with every other marriage. Harsh comments, poor financial decisions, insensitivity to your feelings, neglect of his fatherly role, and so on. And for these offenses and more, bitterness has grown in your heart because you held on to the hurt and refused to forgive him. Or you even tried to forgive him and thought you actually did. But in the real sense, your love for him has continually diminished by the day. Bitterness poisons you. Although the blade is meant for your spouse, but it is you who gets caught as you hold tightly to it. You may not have realized it, but it's the bitterness in your heart that makes you to resent your husband, keep record of his wrongdoings, angry with and disrespectful to him, and conclude that your marriage cannot work again. But he has hurt me so bad. You may be thinking right now, let me quickly tell you something. No man in his right senses will intentionally hurt or let down the woman he pledged to love and be with the rest of his life. He's just been an imperfect human like you who happens to make poor choices while trying to figure things out. So quit the illusion of having the Prince Charming who always saves the day and never lets his princess down. He will always let you down. Now I hear you say again, that's so unfair. He has wronged me badly and should be made to see his errors, ask for my forgiveness, and change. Oh, you're right on that. He should do all that. But hear me. Your spouse can't take away your bitterness. You alone can do that. Let me show you how. I'll tell you 3 things to do to begin to heal from bitterness. Number 1, make a list of your hurts and communicate them to your spouse. Many times your spouse isn't even aware of the way he has hurt you. So rather than shutting down and widening the gap between the both of you, voice out your concerns. It is, however, very important to take note of the following while you are voicing out your concerns. 1, make sure the timing is right and that there are no distractions. Keep the discussion productive. Start by confessing your own faults to your spouse before talking about your hurts. Don't just go on blaming and criticizing your spouse. You will not achieve any positive results if you do so. Let love be your motivator. Number 2, Forgive your spouse and ask God to forgive you too. Although you may not realize it, but you also need to be forgiven just the same way you need to forgive your spouse. The bitterness you have harbored in your heart is a sin, and God will hold you responsible for it exactly the same way He will hold your spouse for his own wrongdoings. Therefore, confess it and receive the grace to forgive your significant half. Decide to forgive him so that you can get well and be able to move on. Number three, realize that you have also made choices that have deeply hurt both your spouse and your marriage. Therefore, I encourage you to seek ways to change yourself and not your spouse. The only person you can change is you. Leave whatever change that needs to be effected in your spouse to God. No matter how hopeless your relationship with your spouse may seem right now, it can still be healed if you let go of the bitterness in your heart and embrace the sweetness that marriage has to offer. I sincerely hope you will embrace this counsel so that you can be free. If, however, you still find it difficult to, please talk to me and let's together see how you can through the help of the Almighty God. Till I come your way again in my next episode, peace be upon your home.